All right, so jumping in today to Binance, a lot of people have been talking about this. This has hit the concern FUD meter, I think. So we're going to dive into it. There's two potential tracks here that may be playing into it. So stay tuned on this one. We'll make it quick and nice. We've got an FOMC live coming up soon. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into TechPath. All right, so a couple things have been happening here with CZ, Binance, and the potential of not only liquidity, but also the issue of potential regulatory and maybe wrongdoing. We're going to break all this down for you guys, and really what boils down to whether or not you should be in a BNB token, whether you should be in a stablecoin in general on BUSD. As you guys know, we have been preaching a lot about self-custody. We've also been preaching about getting out of stables and moving your way into cash over the past few months. And that's essentially what I've done. So I don't know if you've been following my lead, but it's one of the things I do. So hopefully you're following my lead a little bit, but doing your research, right? All right, so I want to thank our sponsor today. That is iTrust Capital. If you guys are looking at going in the route of long-term, IRAs are really a good tool. It's not the only tool, but this is one of the good ones that gives you some tax benefits, and it has some interesting things that are starting to pop up for 2023, some new IRS guidelines now enabling, I think it's like a $500 bump on how much more you can take in terms of less taxes on your income. So it basically comes right off your adjusted gross income. It says if you didn't make it, you don't have to pay taxes on it, and you're not paying taxes on those gains. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I can tell you this. This is one of the strategies I use is crypto IRAs. I think they're efficient. iTrust Capital, check them out. Use our link below because it does help the channel. And hopefully you'll get a $100 funding reward if you activate an account. All right, let's get over to the first story right here. And this is Binance seeing an over $3 billion customer withdrawal within 24 hours. And there's a little bit of a breakdown here that kind of goes into this. This is DeFi Llama. We kind of pulled this in. Binance saw $4 billion in withdrawals on Tuesday. Prior to that, the exchange also saw $1 billion in withdrawals on Monday and Tuesday. As of now, Binance has around $60 billion worth of assets on an exchange. So that's not significant, but it is something to definitely take note of. And I know a lot of people will be on and I don't think it's a matter of taking sides, because it doesn't matter. What we do out here in the crypto market is not going to affect to any real extent. If these guys have been doing any kind of wrongdoings or anything like those, are things that are going to uncover themselves. All right, let that go. What you should be doing is getting rid of your stable coins if you have them, and getting into cash. Or if you're going into Bitcoin, Ethereum, if that's what you like, okay, no problem. That's what I do. I use Bitcoin, ETH, Matic, a handful of alts, but I self-custody all of those. So that's the easy fix for all of this, guys. You don't have to worry about all this exchange FUD. You don't have to worry about all these problems. But if you are, Binance Net Flow right now, 7-day, minus 3.6 bill. Outflow, 8.7 bill. In, 5.1 bill. So that kind of gives you a flow of what's happening over on Binance. Some people will say, and if you look at some of the things, here's Jesse Powell talking about this also, proof of reserves, audit must have some client liabilities, auditor must exclude negative balances. This is some things that he's a little bit, this again is the Kraken former CEO. The aspect of this could be a huge implication on what's going on with CZ, because what you have to do is follow human nature. And it doesn't matter, human nature responds in many things the same way. A lot of times history repeats itself, especially in actors in the financial communities. And if you kind of look at what CZ's been up to, he's playing defense right now. Here's a tweet from him. Things have been stabilized. Yesterday was not the highest withdrawals we processed, not even top 5. We processed more during Luna. FTX crashes. Now deposits are coming back in. And we showed, the negative difference between inflow outflow flow there. We did. And then his 13th tweet was, we saw some withdrawals net 1.4 bill. We've seen this before. Again, this is, I feel like, is this one of those steady lads, times for Binance? Is there something going on here that is different, more nefarious? We don't know. I don't necessarily believe the FUD, because remember, a lot of these federal charges and potential regulation violations were spawned really years ago, the likelihood of those coming back into play here now is really either more about collecting evidence or getting more information or looking at the whether or not Binance has cleaned something up. Those kind of things can happen throughout a course of a case. So I know that they are fighting that. And the other thing is CZ is getting ready to flip on to Twitter Spaces, which I've never seen him do. So those are interesting in reference to him, pushing it. Now, the one thing that worries me a little bit is this right here. You got Jim Cramer saying, oh, he feels reassured on Binance. That automatically is pretty much a red button for sell. But you know how Cramer is. Kevin O'Leary also testified. I don't know if you guys watched that show. It was pretty interesting. There was a lot happening today, yesterday with FTX. Congress has really been accelerating scenarios around crypto. Listen, guys, we are going to be in for a fight on Capitol Hill. There is a lot happening right now that is intermingling between FTX, Binance, the crypto communities, MiCA in the EU, this new GDPR, and the MCA, all that stuff that is essentially redistributing how digital assets are going to be done. Remember, we talked about this, is that at some point in time, in a very short period of time, this was last year, we were really talking about regulation was coming, and the likelihood of the rich getting richer is going to be happening more and more. And this is what I fear the most. This was Kevin O'Leary. I want you to listen to what he had to say about the Binance situation.
Why do you believe FTX failed?
I have an opinion. I don't have the records. Here it is. These two behemoths that own the unregulated market together and grew these incredible businesses in terms of growth were at war with each other. And one put the other out of business intentionally. Now, maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe there's nothing wrong with love and war. But Binance is a massive, unregulated global monopoly now. They put FTX out of business.
Why do you believe FTX failed?
All right, so that's a pretty big statement coming in from Kevin O'Leary. I mean, for him to go out on a limb like that, he's going right at CZ. This is a PR nightmare for Binance. It's probably good for projects and companies like Coinbase and Gemini, Kraken, etc. So there are going to be exchanges out there that are going to win on this, guys. I'd love to get your input. Drop some comments below or put them over on the side. Which exchange are you trusting right now? And or are you already doing what I've asked you to do so many times, and that is getting into self-custody? Also, make sure to smash the like button. If you like the live streams like this, we're getting ready to go live on the FOMC meeting. So make sure and stick around right here. It's going to be coming up right after this. We'll also be tracking Bitcoin because Bitcoin is starting to move and playing out in a cycle that we've been talking about, which might be a little bit of a Santa rally. So good stuff happening out there, even though I think the market itself. Here was the U.S. Justice Department weighing in, charging Binance and its executives. These were the scenarios that kind of play into it. This was a Reuters report. If you want to follow that one, you can go check it out. But disagreements between prosecutors holding up any potential conclusion to the criminal investigation. A report noted citing 4 people familiar with the matter. If you go over to the report, let me pop that one open real quick. This is where the U.S. Justice Department was split over charging Binance. So that to me tells me either they don't have enough evidence or they don't feel like they can win the case with what they have. Maybe there's evidence of some things like that, but really maybe it's not anything that is outside of what they don't normally see in a Wall Street scenario. So I think this is going to be interesting to play. Because remember, the investigation has been running since 2018, spans, this is several offices. This all included the money laundering and asset recovery section of the U.S. Attorney's Office. This is Western District of Washington, Seattle, and the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team. So that's the new ones, kind of a small team. Criminal prosecution such as one like this would put more pressure on an already stressed crypto market. And again, if Binance were to go down, guys, this would be devastating for the industry. It would still survive, but I think crypto would be set back maybe as far as a decade. This is a huge issue facing us right now, and it's only because Binance has been allowed to become so big so fast. So I mean, they're holding almost 75% of the world's crypto assets. So that's a big one to be aware of. Remember, everything's not here in the US. So much is happening outside the US. Binance controls those elements. How to create FUD against Binance 101. Take news from 2018, recycle it, turn it into breaking news in 2022. Revenge for FTX collapse. This is the flip side of this. So this is the chess play that is occurring. And if you look at that, go back to that tweet real quick. That is the CoinDesk. Now remember who owns CoinDesk? Digital Currency Group. The tie-in starts to play into all of this of where there is FTX contagion and or tentacles that could play into this. We already know that FTX was involved in paying out crypto media. And now we've got a lot of crypto media that is basically reeling on trying to figure out how do they get credibility back on taking those kinds of payouts. These aren't advertising deals. These were payout deals. Advertising is a different deal. If they advertise, great, no big deal. It's fully disclosed, no big deal. But if it's not advertising, and they're taking money to do things and it's driving editorial decision, editorial making, that's a problem, okay? I've been in the editorial business for almost 25 years. That is huge, and it will affect crypto as a whole. It starts to concern me as to where the crypto news is going to come from. Tron founder Justin Sun, he deposited $100 million into Binance a few hours back. What's going on here? 1 hour after the deposit, Binance temporarily paused USDC withdrawals. This was interesting. Lot of things happening here, guys. A lot of things happening. This is part of deploying BUSD on Tron. I think cross-chain swaps, not sure of the details, not directly handling myself. Okay, that could be the case. You know, that's reasonable within the process of how this might work, but it just starts to, under the circumstances of what's happening in the marketplace, this just reeks a problem. So just be aware of that. Binance's beef with crypto trader CoinMamba. This is kind of getting into CoinMamba accused Binance of refusing to help recover the funds he lost to an exploit. This was back in December. And then you had CoinMamba claims that Binance restricted his account after he tweeted about the problem with 3 comma, remember, and then prevented him from taking advantage of the market conditions, minimize his losses, and there you go. These were the kind of things. It appears you are still confused in regards to the reason the account was put into withdrawal only. Here's a screenshot of your conversation with our customer service agent. So wham, there is a problem right there. And I think that is the exposure that we continue to see happening and playing out. The drama in this space right now is just, it's at a 9 out of 10, I think, in terms of anything I've ever seen in business, B2B, B2C, tech industry. I've never seen anything amped up to this level for an industry that is relatively small globally. Remember, 1 trillion globally. I mean, we've got 25 industries larger than this industry right now, and that's not even getting into the big, the big sectors in finance today. So a lot happening there. Let's go over to another one that I want to kind of feature. Binance resumed its USDC stablecoin withdrawals. This was another thing with USDC and BUSD in the battle that we've talked about here on the show. If you haven't checked out those videos, if you are holding USDC or BUSD, and I've mentioned this many times in our member groups, in our Diamond Circle, get out of the stablecoin. Let's move, or let this stuff settle down. Stablecoins will most likely be regulated. Once they are, then we have a lock and load position on stablecoins in reverse of our US dollar. No problem. At that point, I feel like, depending on the regulation that comes through, likelihood USDC will be a big part of that, possibly a handful of others. So just be very, very cautious in how you're playing the stablecoin market right now. And I just had this come up in the mastermind group, people asking about whether or not they should go ahead and dump their stablecoin. And I won't say which one, but it was a fairly large amount. And I said, yeah, you need to go to cash, or if you're a big Bitcoin lover, go ahead and grab Bitcoin in the 17s. I think we're going to get a move. Hopefully he went the Bitcoin route, because he just made maybe 8-10% by the time this is over. On USDC, this is CZ coming back and playing defense. We've seen an increase in withdrawals. However, the channel swap for Pax BUSD for USD requires us going through a bank in New York, and obviously in US dollars. and the banks are not open for other few hours. Okay, maybe that's still a little bit, but at the same time, you should be able to carry that swap no problem. I don't know that that would have been a scenario that would push it under the liquidity claim that Binance has. So that's a big one. Here's Binance FUD is baseless. This coming in from Mac. Keep in mind, if Binance collapses, crypto will be sent back to Stone Age. I agree, 10 years at least. There'll be a lot of problems in the market. It'll take a long time to recover. Web3 will be delayed dramatically, at least in terms of payment systems, architecture, the ability to utilize and trade a lot of these tokens that will fuel that. It will push back to the VC market, which is very controlling. I mean, the ripple effects are going to be big if that were to occur. Then you've got this PSA, kind of this public statement here, coming in from the Alpha. BUSD is only issued by Paxos on the ETH chain. It has an ERC20. All other forms BUSD include the BSC chain. They're managed by whoever issues them, being Paxos. So this is where it gets a little weird, because if you follow the theme here, and you can kind of learn a little bit here, is follow Paxos's Twitter. Let me zoom up on that. It's the sole issuer of BUSD, the US dollar-backed stablecoin regulated by the New York State Federal Financial Services. However, once that transfer takes place into BUSD, it no longer, Binance wraps BUSD and issues a separate token for this. So they are unaffiliated with Paxos, and they're not regulated by the United States in any way, including the financial department in New York. So this starts to get a little squirrely here for me on BUSD, and it's obviously those many other. You've heard my USDC tribulations. You've heard my BUSD. I've liked all of these tokens at time in the sense of a stablecoin and being able to alternate out of those. But over the past 4 months, getting into cash has been my mission, and we've been doing it, and we haven't messed around with it. It's going. That's the way we're going. Make sure and smash like on the button right there. That button right there that says the little guy there. Yeah, hit it. We need it. One, to help spread the word about what's happening here in the space. It will help others start to learn and maybe not get so panicked when they see that there's, at least explanations for a lot of what's happening in a market that is in uproar right now. And I think it's in uproar because of two things. One, the volatility, sure. But number two, it's on the precipice of a regulatory tidal wave. And that everybody's starting to scurry for the corners. Everybody is scraping and grabbing at a last straw, trying to hold on to whatever it is. I mean, I've seen things from Cardano, Solana, every major layer one. You look at the things that's happening in metaverse and gaming. You look at the shift that we've started to see in Web3 and the solutions from the VCs. Everything is being affected. It's like, it just keeps getting worse, like quicksand, man. As you step in, the harder you try, the worse it gets. That's something. But I think as people understand that the future is very bright, what we have to do is we got to go through a lot of the problems in the industry right now to clean it up. Binance, of course, has been pushing for this zero fee scenario for introducing Pay for U.S. customers to enable instant crypto payments with zero fees. This, again, I think is another scenario that will go after liquidity that is really trying to grab into the U.S. market. I think that's a big part of it. Again, that could be looked at as a positive or maybe even a negative on how this plays out. So all of this at the end is simple. Self-custody is the only way. You should be in your blue chip coins. And if you want to get into your MetaMask wallet, go over here and play around with your gamble coins like I do. But know that that's what they are, okay? I'm not giving you financial advice, but I'm telling you that's the way I do it. And I'm a conservative investor, and with years of business experience, and that I just don't want to lose in those kind of things. So you move early, you never distribute in one central place, always diversify, and never bet more than you can lose. That's the biggest mistake. Don't use leverage. Don't get into those games. Play this in a straight up fashion like you would a great poker game. It's just that kind of situation. Which, by the way, I just found out the other day that poker is actually the most strategic game, not chess. But probability ratios for poker, we're getting off, but but it's much greater. So if you, just because you can play this so many different ways. Let's get to a poll real quick, and then we'll talk about what's going to happen in the FOMC. Is Binance next? No, this is all FUD, 71%. Ooh, I don't like that. Yes, wouldn't be shocked, 29. So that worries me that we have an overwhelming no. So I won't say anything yes, no, or other. All I say is you're in a trade, you're out, get that back to your cold storage. You're in a trade or you're out, get it into your software wallet, whatever the method is. Those are the models you need to be taking, or jumping into a exchange that you feel safe with. Maybe it's Binance, maybe it's Coinbase, maybe it's Gemini. I don't know. You tell me. Drop it in the comments below. Stay tuned. We have a big one coming up. Bitcoin is moving like there is no tomorrow, kind of. And the FOMC is about to crack open here, so we'll be doing a lot on Chair Powell's remarks, which is going to be the big part of this. So when we do the live stream, make sure and stick around for the end of that, because when he does his remarks, this is going to give us a very interesting forecast on how 23 will start to play out for us, because I still believe we're going to get a 50. I still believe we're going to have either a neutral or a hawkish remarks from Chair Powell. We have some other stuff too. We're going to be doing, we might do that in the front end. We're giving away some Bitcoin on our holiday program. We've got a new holiday sale out there for you guys. So lots happening. You'll learn about that on that live stream. I think it's the first one we're going to be announcing on. If you're not in the Diamond Circle, that's the first thing you need to do is get into that first. That'll at least help you get aware of these things. And if you don't know, you can always catch me out on Twitter. It's just @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.